Talk to me, too, about the fact that she's mocking really the majority of people in our country, because the majority of people in our country are religious and they identify as Christian. And yet Elizabeth Warren essentially, I mean, she ridiculed the idea that anybody would believe that marriage is between one man and one woman. How does she expect these people to vote for her?
Look, the space between what is forbidden and what is compulsory is getting smaller and smaller every day. That liberal space, small L liberal space, in which people with radically different beliefs, for example, about human sexuality, about ethics, about whether or not God exists, what God wants from us. America has always had people living side by side in tolerance on these issues, not always perfectly, by no means always perfectly, but that was the system that we laid down from the beginning with the First Amendment and the small L liberal ideas that undergird our Constitution. And the left wants to move us away from that liberal idea and saying that, it is becoming kind of like a secular religion on the left. And I'm an agnostic, but the way that the left is wielding some of these social issues, and I think you're right. I mean, I think they're basically cutting ads for Donald Trump 2020 on that stage the other night. I think that a lot of Americans are not with the left on this. And in fact, the Kentucky's governor's race has provided some evidence in favor. There was an 8-point swing against the Democratic candidate for governor in Kentucky when ads were played showing his support for integrating trans women into women's sports, that is, allowing men to participate in women's sports activities. Okay, so I don't think the American people are with the left on this. I think that if Donald Trump is smart, he will make a lot of hay out of this town hall, and he will make a lot of political ads based on the things that all of the candidates have said. And look, we're going to have this fight because there is no more tolerance anymore. Eric Erickson has a great book called "You Will Be Made to Care." I did not, 10 years ago, I did not care nearly as much about a lot of these social issues. I thought the primary problem facing America was debt and limited government. It's increasingly clear to me that there is not going to be any disagreement in public brooked by the left on any of these social issues. And it's incredibly important that Americans are brave enough to stand up and say, no, we will have these discussions. We will not be silenced. We will live alongside each other. And you, the left, cannot dictate to me what I believe, whether or not I attend church, what I teach my children about human sexuality, what schools I send them to, what lessons they're going to learn about, how men and women are different from one another. These are really important fundamental rights, and I hope that the Republican Party takes that as a challenge to stand up for Americans in this regard.
Right, and remember, this is not transphobic. This is not bigoted, not at all. We should extend, and conservatives do extend, the utmost respect and dignity to people of different sexual orientations, people who have gender identity disorders, and we ought to. We ought to lead by example, and we do a good job of that. But the Democrats try to paint this binary option that either you adhere to their LGBTQ ideology, their radical leftist ideology, or else you're a bad person. And that's simply not the case.